Hey everyone, what's going on? Greg here again from Team Blast. So I've been able to increase my clients' share of local voice from 13% to now 22%. The keyword is Airbnb cleaning service. So let's get into it. So to start, what is SOLV or share of local voice? Basically, if you ever Google anything like HVAC near me, plumbers near me, cleaners near me, Google's going to display three organic map pack listings on desktop, tablet, and mobile. This is actually where you want to be for any local business where the lion's share of activity takes place for phone calls, direction requests, website clicks, scheduled bookings, and so much more. So this is really where you want to be. Now, SLV, the way I'm looking at this for my class, I ran the scan on 525. We were again around that 13%. We increased it a little bit on 526, maybe around 18%. And now today on 527, we're at that 22% mark for page one rankings for my client. And the way that I look at this too is that I can look at the top competitors and see if we're taking any share away from them. It's a little unclear as of right now with the top competitors, but I know we have taken share from some of the smaller players, not in the top four, which is basically how it works. You have to take away share from others to get onto page one of Google. So again, the keyword here is Airbnb cleaning service. I ran the scan today, and we've improved by almost a little bit closer to 8% of the time from my previous scan in a 2 mile radius 13 by 13 grid. So here's the heat map change. So it's a little difficult to understand exactly what's going on here. So let me open up ChatGPT. The way I did this was I uploaded all three of the heat maps, and basically I gave the prompts of dots one, two, three, those dark green ones. So that's the page one ranking. That's the share of local voice. Light green, we're slightly off page one. It's good, but we're not quite there yet on page one. So we're not going to get the majority of phone calls and website clicks. And then red is not good. So they looked at this and said, okay, you went from 13% to around 18 to 20% on 526, now on 527, 22%. They give you all the areas that you're winning, which is really important. Helps me understand exactly what I'm doing. What I like most about this breakdown is that it's really easy for me to share this report with my clients. A lot of times when I give them the heat map change, like those what I was just sharing before, those three, it's a little bit difficult to say, okay, what am I really looking at? The ChatGPT breakdown makes it really clear. Okay, you went from position 3 and 4 to position 1 and 2, or more importantly, from 5 to 6 to 2 and 3. That's a page one ranking. They also go over things like many former areas were orange and red. Now they're moving into the light green. These are areas that I need to focus on for my client. I think I'm going to be able to flip more of those dots for them. And then they go over this basically. They say, okay, in Midwood Core and Madison, Homecrest, East Midwood, Marine Park Edge, these are the areas that are really improving for my client for this particular keyword. So again, this really helps me understand at a bird's eye view, what's happening with their account, what I need to potentially do next. So you might be curious, sort of what was done, and then how you can maybe get similar results. The big thing I want to stress is that these recommendations, it's not a one size fit all, but maybe you haven't tried some of these. This might spark some ideas what you can do to improve your Google Business Profile visibility. So start at, I'm using ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot to review competitors. So I just gave the example of me using ChatGPT to analyze those three heat map scans, but I did the same for my competitors too. I love to get a secondary opinion because sometimes for me, I'm really in the account where my blinders will be up, so I don't really I might overlook things. So it's great to get like an unbiased sort of view and say, hey, they're kind of doing this, and here's a gap potentially you might want to try. Next, I'm running the local Falcon heat map scans. That's really important. You had to run scans to get an idea if you're improving. I try to run them consistently when they're open and when their competitors are open as well, so I'm not getting any biased results. Next, I added more services to their Google Business Profile listing. Really, what this means is that under the services section, I'm really niching down. A lot of times I'll see things today, maybe the services cleaners. Instead, you want to niche down things like, urgent, bi-weekly, decluttering, and of course, the example right here, Airbnb. Next, my client does get Google reviews. That's actually a really difficult task. So they are getting the reviews, they respond to them. I can't control that. But for them to get the reviews, that's phenomenal. That is a ranking factor. It's not the biggest one, but it does help with everything we're trying to work on. All right, bottom row on the left. Updated the title tag for the target landing page on the website. So it's actually two-parter. I wrote the content for the Airbnb page. My client reviewed it. We uploaded it. Then I kind of went back in and said, okay, I'm going to change this title tag a little bit, make it more clear for Google. Try to get maybe a little bit more keywords into there to see if that can push us over. Next, I added internal links throughout their website to this page. So a lot of times with new pages, it does take a while for Google to index them. So one way you can speed that up is doing log file analysis, or you can simply use a tool like Sitebulb to get an idea of the crawl hierarchy for how Google crawls the website. So I added internal links on the homepage, the About Us page, and some other ones as well that are more crawled frequently to really allow Google to see that Airbnb page. Now, this one I was testing for, I do this for all my clients, by the way, the removal of unnecessary categories on Google Business Profile. I'll give you an example. If you are let's say, a concrete contractor, and then a secondary category is just the word contractor, that could actually dilute the concrete contractor part, because contractor now can mean anything. Contractor could be someone like fixing a fence, mounting a TV, changing out, like any various project, because a contractor is pretty vague. So with cleaners, what I know is for my client, and more so when I look at the competitor analysis, when you have more generic categories, it can dilute from house cleaning. So I did remove any unnecessary categories, and I'm seeing better results. And of course, there's more. I didn't even go over things like schema markup. I didn't go over things like truss index. I didn't go over things like um, um, image optimization. There's so much more than just what I'm putting over here. But what I really like is I'll go back into the ChatGPT analysis over here. I really like that I can share this with my client, go over exactly where the wins are taking place, what they're seeing, what I'm seeing, and then really the next step's what I need to do. Okay, what are the dots that are light green or light yellow? I want to flip them. I really have to focus on those competitors now in that area. Rinse and repeat. Use Microsoft Copilot or OpenAI's ChatGPT to get an idea of what are the gaps, what do we need to re-optimize with our landing page, maybe our Google Business Profile, our services, our products, updates, maybe respond to reviews. There's so much more that we can do, but I'm really proud that we went from 13% now to 22%, just from 2 days, really, from the 25th now to the 27th. But let me know if you guys have any questions. I hope these ideas maybe spark some ideas what you can do for your business. Let me know if you have any questions, and as always, have a good rest of your day.